Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on this necklace that we are using the bezeled pearls with. So last video we learned how to do all the bezeling. So we bezeled a 6mm pearl, an 8mm, and a Swarovski pearl drop, and made these earrings. And you can also make these really pretty little post earrings, which I'm going to be making a lot of this year for gifts because they're so easy and they're so pretty and everybody can wear them if you have pierced ears, of course. So last week I said we would do the necklace this week. So this week we're going to put together these pearls. I will definitely we'll do a couple. They're so fast that I'll demonstrate the 6 and the 8mm again, but this is we're gonna concentrate on this fancy stone, and this is a 13 by 18mm Swarovski teardrop or pear. I'm not sure which one that's called. Fancy stone, but that's the size. And if if you're looking for it, just put that in your search bar. So we're going to bezel this, and then we're going to put it all together. I like the addition of all different size pearls. The necklace itself, the necklace part itself, has all 3mm pearls, and I love the combination of this little right angle weave with all these bezeled pearls. So here's the gold version, this is the silver version. I made this last night, I'm loving it. I'll just give you up close and personal look at the gold version with the emerald stone. Look at those stones, how gorgeous is that? Okay, so I'm feeling a bracelet, but I haven't designed it yet, so a bracelet will be coming up. It's gonna have something to do with this combination of beads here. I think that would be a beautiful bracelet, maybe several strands. I'm not sure yet, but I'll be coming up with something. All right, so I'm going to clear the decks and we're going to get a materials list and get started. Okay, let's get a materials list going. So for the necklace, you're going to need a 13 by 18mm Swarovski Fancy Stone in the teardrop shape or pear, whichever they call it. It's the 13 by 18mm. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful aquamarine color. You'll need some 8mm pearls. I'm going to put amounts, colors, everything in the description box below the video. So colors for this one, and the one we're making today. So I've got some 8mm pearls, some 6mm pearls, some 4mm pearls. You'll need a bunch of 3mm pearls. So see, we're using lots of different sizes. It's really kind of fun. Actually, I even have a 2mm pearl here, and where I put that was just right here. It's my connection, but you don't need to do that. You can just use any bead for that connection. But I just thought, being that I was going down all those pearls, I would add a little 2mm pearl in there. I have an 8mm Swarovski crystal, round crystal, that I'm using as my closure. You need some 11/0 seed beads. You need some of these Toho Demi Rounds, and these are size 8. I'm just using that as a decorative accent in between the pearls. You can use 11/0s, you can use anything you want there, just so it looks pretty and it fits nice and hangs nicely. You'll need some Delicas or Toho Aiko beads. I'm using the Aiko beads here. These are the really pretty Toho precision cut beads, but a Delica is fine here as well. You need some 15/0 seed beads. I'm just using this dark bronze. It's a nice contrast between the dark, the light gold and the little dark brown bronze. It gives a nice contrast around the pearl, but of course you can use any color you like. Size 10 beading needle, and I have a 12 just in case. 8-pound Fireline. I'm using black satin. You could probably even go with 6-pound. This is not a heavy necklace. And I have a stop bead. All right, so again, remember, all materials, anything I add will be in the description box below the video. If you enjoy this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And I'm going to clear everything off, and we're going to get started. We're going to work on bezeling this teardrop shaped stone. See you in a minute. Okay, we're back. So let's get started on the bezel. So thread your needle with about 3.5 feet of thread. Put on a stop bead, and you want to leave about a 14-inch tail because I want to do a little of the one side of the bezel with one end and a little more of the bezel with the other end. So I think 14, and maybe we'll go 16 inches after the stop bead. So I'm going to pick up and with my needle and drop down to my stop bead 38 of my Aiko beads, Delica beads, cylinder beads, like that. And just a note, count after you do this, because I can't tell you how many times I put them on and I think I have the right amount, and then I've done the first round and my it's not right. So So we're going to make these into a circle. So I'm just going to sew up the first couple of beads like that after the stop bead, just like that. All right, so just another little note. If you're doing if your stone is sort of a different size, just to get the right amount, first of all, we're doing a peyote bezel, it has to be an even number of beads. And to get the right amount, just kind of check it around your stone like that. And you really want to make sure that the beads go around the edge. You don't want it too short. So do you see how they're just about hitting all the way around the edge there? So that's about right. So then I'm just going to start my peyote bezel. So I'm just going to pick up a bead. Here's the bead I'm exiting from. I'm going to skip a bead and sew through the following bead. So it's just, we're just doing a round bezel right now. One more. So here, just make sure the bead you put on sits on top of the previous bead. So here, exiting here, skip this one, sew through the next one. You don't want it super tight. You don't want thread showing. You just want it comfortable. Don't jam your beads up. All right, so just do that all the way around to the end, and we'll step up together. It's just right now we're just doing a round bezel. We're not doing anything else. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, coming down to the end, I have one more bead to put on. So here I'm coming out of this one. I'm going to skip the next one, and I'm going to sew through the next bead and the one on the diagonal. It's going to step me up to put more beads on. So we're going to do one more round now. So all I'm going to do is pick up a bead, sew through the sticking out bead. Pick up a bead, sew through the next sticking out bead. Do that all the way around, and then come on back and we'll step up together. Okay, coming down to the end, we have one more bead to put on, and starting to curve a little bit. So exiting here, skip this one, sew through the next bead and the one on the diagonal. See if I can sort of hold that for you a little bit, like that. Okay. Now I have all my Delicas on, and you can give it a little pull at this point. You don't have to pull it super duper tight, but just about like that is good. All right, so here we are. Now we're going to add some 15-ohs on. This is where we're going to sort of a little decrease. So just for right now, just pick up a 15-oh, sew through the sticking out, every sticking out Delica. Next one. I have 6 on. I'm gonna skip one in a second. You really can skip it anywhere, but I'm just gonna put on do it about halfway there. Okay, so at this point, whoops, I have several 15-ohs on. I'm not gonna put a 15-oh in this next space. So I'm just going to take my needle and sew right through the next Delica without any bead on it, just like that. And we're just gonna, don't worry about the thread showing, it won't show later. So just like that, and then I'm gonna continue putting 15-ohs on to the end. And we're just gonna use that for the point when we put the stone in. So just go all the way around, putting your 15-ohs on. So just keep doing that, and you'll find this later when we put the stone in. So do that all the way around to the end, and then meet me back here and we will step up together. Okay, we're back, so let's step up. Sitting here, skip this guy. So through the Delica and the 15-oh on the diagonal. And now you have that side done. So now what I want you to do is take off your stop bead and thread your needle from the other side, and just I want you to just add a 15-oh in every space on this side. I don't want you to skip anything. Just want to make sure, just do 1/15 through every sticking out delica. So we're working on both sides at the same time. All right, so get that done and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So I finished that round, and so what we have now is we have the delicas, and then we have 2 rounds of 15-0s on. One side there's a 15-0 in between each delica, and the other side has that little space where I didn't put a 15-0. So I'm going to take my stone and actually going to put the back of the stone in. Just want to see it for fit right now. Just going to put this around put the bezel around the stone, and I want the point of the stone to be right where that space is, where I didn't put a 15-0, and then the front will have a 15-0 point, like stuck right at, well, the 15-0 will be right at the top of the point there. Don't worry about it, it's not going to stay in right now, but it just to give you a general idea of how that's going to fit. So let me make sure the point is, yeah, there's the point. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to work a little on the front here. So let's put one more round of delicas, of 15-0s on the front, and if you need to, just pull the back a little bit. Just hold it in your hand and pull the back a little bit so that it curves a bit around the stone. These stones have that, like big, blob at the end. That's one way of putting it. They're bigger and bulbous around the end and then at the top. So we're going to have to mold this to fit a bit. So I'm just going to continue putting these on, and I changed this white stone just because I thought it would be easier for you to see when I put the beads on. So I'm just going to put another round on the front like this, and as I put them on, I'm sort of pulling them inward a little bit to hug the stone. Like that. Just going to continue like this. And going all the way around. And then I'm going to step up at the end and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So at this point I've got 2 rounds on the front. So now let's do a little more on the back. So I'm just going to add a 15-0 between each 15-0. Just keep going around. I just want to get you past the point and then I'll let you continue. So here, I'm not pulling too tight, I'm just making sure everybody's nice and snug, and I'm pulling sort of inward a little bit to hug the stone. So here I am, I'm coming to the top. So what I like to do here, because it's the back and you're not going to see it, is I like to take 2 15-0s and just put them across here. So I'm exiting this one, this is where the space was, and then I'm going to put 2 15-0s right there, and that's going to kind of capture the top of the stone. You don't see it in the back, this is what the front is going to look like. So then I'm just going to continue all the way around, and I'm going to step up and then come on back and we'll finish up. Okay, we're back. So here's our stone. Here's the back, here's the front. Now there's a lot of stone showing on the front, but it's pretty secure, so I'm not really worried about it. However, if you want to add another round on, we can do that. But we're going to just do a little something different at the top so that we keep that nice shape going. So I'm going to add another round on. And I don't know if you can hear all the construction going on, but if you do, I apologize. It's just constant in the summer. All right. So here we're coming to the point. I'm going to add one more right there. So see, at the point now, I don't want to, have too many beads stuck up at the point. So here, I just put this bead on, so let me just pull this out for a sec. Okay. So I just put that one on, just like that. Now I'm just going to sew through this guy, no beads on my needle. Sew through this one. This is that little 15-0 at the top of the point. Sew through this one. That's the next one on the diagonal, and then down through this one. Okay, and that's going to leave my point free, and I can continue adding my 15-0s. So it's going to give me a little, it's going to leave the point open a little more instead of having it closed at the top, and I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so there you go. So finish that up and then come on back and we'll continue with the necklace. Okay, we're back. So I've finished my bezel, and all you want to do at this point is sew in your threads. So you know how to do that. You're just going to sew on the diagonal and sew all the way around. You can sew all the way around the bezel if it feels loose. Mine's pretty sturdy. Mine's pretty tight, so I don't really think I need to do that. Just make sure that your point looks good, and if you have to, just kind of, give it a little squish here and there. Make sure the back looks good. Alright, so I just wanted to show you the finished bezel. So that's what it looks like. Alright, so then get that done, sew your threads in, and then come on back and we will start bezeling the pearls. Alright, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So let's bezel the 8mm pearl. So thread a needle with about 20 inches of thread. Put on a stop bead and leave about an 8-inch tail, 10-inch tail. I've put on 22 Delicas. I'm going to sew those into a circle. Like that. And I'm just going to do peyote bezel, so I'm just going to pick up a bead, skip a bead, sew through the next bead, pick up a bead, skip a bead, sew through the next bead, all the way around, and then meet you back here and we'll step up. Coming to the end, coming out of here, skip this one, sew through the following bead and the one on the diagonal. Just like that. Now you're going to add a round of 15-0s. So just picking up a 15-0 and sewing through every sticking out Delica bead. You can use your thumb to give it a little pull to start to curve around. So do that all the way around and then come on back and we'll step up. Okay, coming to the end. I've left mine open so you can see the thread path. So here I'm going to step up now. So coming out of this Delica, just going to skip the next one, sew through the next Delica and the little 15-0 on the diagonal. So now I'm just going to take my 8mm pearl, I'm going to pop it in there and I'm going to give it a nice pull just to like mold it around the pearl. Alright, and I'm making sure that the hole of my pearl is right where I can see it. I'm just going to sew right through. So here, actually before I sew through, I'm coming out of a 15-0. I'm just going to advance through the next Delica. And then I'm going to find the hole. And I'm just going to sew right down through the beads, through the bezel, through the other side, like that, to attach the pearl on. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to take off the stop bead, thread my needle, and do a round of 15-0s on the other side, and then meet me back here. Okay, coming down to the end. So I'm going to step up, so here, exiting the Delica, sew through the Delica and the 15-0, like that. And then I'm going to sew on the diagonal to get to this Delica here. And then I'm going to sew right to where that other thread is, like that. And then just for good measure, I'm going to find where the hole is, so where that thread was coming out. Where are you? And you might have, oh, there we go. You might have to play around a little bit to get it. And then I'm just going to sew through again, and now it's nice and tight. And if it's not tight, just take your thread, your needle and thread, and let's see, where am I coming out? Just start sewing through again on the diagonal to tighten it up, and this tightens it up beautiful. Hold it between your fingers so that it doesn't move and that it's nice and straight. And you can just sew all the way around again, and then you can you can reverse direction to tighten it up. And then when it feels good, you're done. Just like that. All right, so there you got your 8mm pearl done. Now for your 6mm, you can do exactly the same thing, only use 16 Delicas, and then just follow all the same procedure I did with 8mm, and get all your pearls bezeled. So you're going to have 5 of your 8mm pearls bezeled. So we have 5 of the 8mm, so the 3 here and the 2 at this point, and then you're gonna have 2 of your 6mm pearls bezeled, and that's going to do this whole area right here. Okay? All right, so get that done, come on back, and then we'll actually put the necklace together. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So now we're going to put the necklace together. So I have my stone here, and I switched out the white one for this one because I don't have a blue one yet, so I thought I would do the aquamarine. So here I am with my thread coming out of one of these top Delica beads. So I'm using the one in the back right here. So that's where I'm exiting. If your thread isn't coming out there, just move around until it is. I'm going to pick up a 15-0. This teeny tiny little 2mm pearl, or you can just use an 11-0 or any bead you like here. And then I'm picking up another 15-0. I'm just going to sew around the same bead, that same Delica that I was coming out of, up through the 15-0. And I'll move my finger in a second, and through the pearl, just like that. Put that on. Don't worry about if it's loose. We're going to go through it again. Then I'm going to pick up a 15-0, and I'm going to pick up one of my 8mm pearls, and I'm just going to find a center bead on the bezel. So here, these I consider the centers. Right here, the one that's by itself, but then there's 2, one on top of the other. One of these. I'm going to use my other threads to sew this piece to the next piece, so I kind of tried to leave those threads at the top. It doesn't matter because you have threads coming out of you should have threads coming out of all your bezeled pearls, so you can use those. So I'm just going to pick up a 15-0, and I'm coming through that one of the center beads. Doesn't matter which one because, unless you want to keep these threads at the top because it's round. Okay, and then back through the teeny tiny pearl. And give it a pull. That just places that little pearl there. Now I'm just going to reinforce by sewing through, back through this 15-0, through the center, like that, through the 15-0, back through the pearl, like that. Now I'm going to reinforce here through the 15-0 and the Delica that's on the bezel, back through again. Sorry about my big hands being in the way. Come on, you. There you go. Okay, that was fighting me a little bit. And back down, through the Delica, and then I'm just going to sew on the bezel to attach everybody. So that just gives me a little connection, just like that. And then just sew around the bezel a little bit, and then you can clip this thread off. And then, so get that done, and then we'll attach the next 2 8mm pearls like that. All right, see if you're back. So now we're going to attach the next 2 beads. So I have my 2 beads. Here's my unit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find the center of this pearl. So when I kind of put my needle across and divide it in half, these two beads here, 1, 2, are in the center. And then I have this bead on the side. So these two are one on top of the other, then this one, and then this one. So 1, 2, 1 here, and then 1, 2, and 1 here. So I want to use, so here's the center, I'm going to use this bead and the same bead on the other side. So here's the center, skip one, come through this one. And I got a little thread sticking out of there. Maybe that'll be helpful to see where it is. So here, so just using this side bead, center, this side bead. All right, so I'm coming out of one of the side beads. I'm going to pick up a 3mm, a 15-0, 3mm bicone, and a 15-0. So once you have that, you're fine. We have that spacing down. And then I actually have a thread on this one that I can use for my next step, but if you don't worry about it. I'm just going to sew through any center bead on one of the 8mm. So it doesn't matter which one, just see how that bead is in the center, and then they're one on top of the other, and then center, just like that. I'm going to pick up a 15-0 3mm bicone and a 15-0. Just going to sew right around the bead I was originally coming out of. That's going to place my first pearl on, just like that. All right? And then all you want to do at this point is just reinforce the beads. And you're going to do the same thing with this one. So you're just going to go over, remember you have your center two, you're going to skip one and do the next one and put this one on. All right, so go ahead and do that and then come back and we'll continue. Okay, done. So there you go. Worked out well. So now I'm going to use the threads I have left over just to continue. We're going to continue on up to this point before we add thread on again. So I'm still going to use this thread. So just a little tip, if your thread isn't where you want it to be, then just move around your beads until it's where you want it to be. So mine's all the way down here. I'm just going to sew through the beads until I get to where I want my thread to be, and I'll show you in a second where I want you to put it. It's going to be, you're going to center it again. So I'm just sewing through, and even if you're facing the wrong direction, that's what's so great about these beads. You can just sew around until you're facing in the right direction, which is great. Like once you know all these like little things, it's not frustrating. Like if you say, oh my gosh, I'm not facing in the right direction, or I'm not, where my thread isn't where I want it to be, then all you have to do is move it around, and it's very easy to move it around the beads. All right, so I'm just sewing around till I'm sort of centered. So I'm going to look to see, here's my Delica that I attached on the bottom. See here? So I just want to get to the center bead on the top of that one, of this bead. So here I'm just going to eyeball it until I get to a Delica that I think is probably centered. So that one, I think that one's over too far. So I'm going to move a little bit more until I get to this one. And to me, I think that's going to work because when I put this, when I go like this, I'm about at that Delica. All right, so that's a good place to put it. And so I just eyeball it and just make sure you do the exact same thing on the other side. All right, so at this point, we're going to start stringing some stuff. So we're going to pick up one of the Demi Rounds, and this is the Toho Aiko Demi Round, just one. And pick up, oh, and let me grab my 4mm pearls, and of course I have my beads there, and I'll show you, and I'll tell you why in a second. I have little pins stuck through them. So here I've picked up one of the Demi Rounds. I'm going to pick up a 4mm. I'm going to pick up 2 Demi Rounds, and a 6. Ah, I forgot to put out some of my beads, didn't I? So let me find my, oh, here they are. No, these are my 4s. Let me find my 6s. Where are your 6s? Here we go. Let me just grab some of these. You know, I know I've probably said it before, because of my little devilish cats, every time I get up to do something that's out of this room, I have to put everything away, and then sometimes I forget to pull it all out. Okay, so I have a demi, a 4mm, 2 demi rounds, a 6, 2 demis, a 4, 1 demi. Okay, so that's what I have so far. And then I'm going to take one of my bezeled pearls, the 6mm bezeled pearl, and what I did was I put a pin through the hole so that I could, because I'm going to string it on like a bead, and I didn't leave a thread sticking out, so it's not a big deal. You could just poke through the side. What I did is poke through the sides of the bead until I got to the hole, and then I just put a pin through it, just so that it's like a placeholder, and then when I'm ready to do it, I can just string it on like a bead, just like that. And then I'm going to take a demi, a 4, 2 demis, a 6, 2 demis, and a 4, 1 demi, and then my next bezeled bead, which I did the same thing with. I determined where the hole was by poking through the sides until I went through. Then I put a little pin in just to hold the place, and then I lost it there for a second, so there we go. So then I'm just going to poke through that like a bead, and that's all you're going to do on both sides. And at this point, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put a little stop bead on the end. It really probably will hold without it, because we're going to switch, you know, to a right angle weave after that. So just do this side, do your other side, and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. We're getting there. All right, so here is my thread, and it's where I strung on the bezeled pearl bead. I'm not going to use this to add these 3mm. What I'm going to do with this at the moment is I'm just going to sew through the bezel. Just want to get this thread out of the way. Well, I feel like maybe tightening it up later is a better idea. I could be wrong. So I'm just sewing down away from the top of it. I'm just going to leave that for the moment, because that way if you want to, you can slightly loosen it or tighten it up. So now I've threaded a needle with about 4 feet of thread. I'm going to put on a stop bead. Just leave enough of a tail to sew in. So I'm just going to sew right through that, the center Delica that's right in the middle. So again, you know, you're just going to gauge your middle, and it's going to be that Delica right there, right up at the top. I'm just going to put that on like that, and I'm going to pick up an 11/0, a 4mm pearl, an 11/0, a 4mm pearl, an 11/0, a 4mm pearl, and an 11/0. That. I'm just going to come right around the same bead that my thread is coming out of, just to make a unit like that. So I've done like a 3-bead unit at the end. I just like the way that looked. I mean, if you like something else, you can certainly do anything you like. So that's that's how we've attached on our unit on. So then I want you to just sew up through the unit again, So through the 11-0, the 4mm, the 11-0, through the 3, the 4mm on the top, and it's going to be loose because you haven't secured the other side yet. So just like that, and if you want, you can reinforce that again, but I'm just going to continue. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a 3mm, an 11-0, a 3, an 11-0, a 3mm, and an 11-0. Coming out of here, I'm just going to come around the other side of the pearl, attach that unit on. So through the beads until you get to come out the side pearl. Do it again. 11-0, 3, 11-0, 3mm, 11-0, 3mm, and an 11-0. Exiting here. So around to make another unit. So through the beads till you get to the side bead, that little pearl, like that. So this is what we have so far. I'm just going to continue doing that all the way down until you have one side of your necklace done. So you just need to measure, what the right size is for you. I didn't even measure my necklace. I think my necklace is about 17.5 to 18 inches. And I didn't count the units, but I will count the units that I made, and I'll let you know when I come back. But so get that done and then come on back. And, well, actually, you don't even have to come back. Do the same thing on this side until you get to just about, I don't know, how big is that? About an inch before the end. And you're going to leave about an inch for the clasp. So get both sides done and then come on back and we'll get the clasps on. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So I'm going to stop here and put the clasp on because I noticed when I looked at my previous clip, one of my threads when I was sewing one of the units on looked like it was fraying, so I don't want to complete a necklace with the fraying thread. So I'm just going to make it a mini. So here, I did 19 units, including this unit at the end for my 18-inch necklace. But I would suggest that you try it on, hold it around your neck, see where it's perfect, where everything falls beautifully on your neck. It may be different for you. All right, so now we're going to start with this guy. So I have my bead closure here. I'm going to pick up, actually I'm going to grab a couple of 3mm pearls. I'm going to pick up 1, 2, 3 of my 11-0s, a 3mm pearl, an 11-0, the crystal, 3 11-0s. So this is what I have. I'm just going to skip the 3 11-0s, come down through the crystal, the 11-0, the pearl, and one 11-0. Very simple beaded closure. You can do any closure you like here. I'm going to pick up 2 11-0s. I'm going to sew through the other side of this pearl. Like that. Now I'm going to sew up through the beads to reinforce. Through the 11-0, through the crystal, through the little picot on the end, back down here, through everybody, through this 11-0, down through these two. Just going to turn it around for a second. So I've just gone up and down again. And then I'm going to pick up, an 11-0, and I'm going to sew through this pearl, like that. I'm going to sew around this unit and up through these three, just to kind of really give a tight connection to the necklace. Okay, and then through these, and then back up and reinforce again until it's nice and tight. Sew in your threads and then come back and we'll put this side on and we'll be done. Okay, let's get this side done. So I'm going to pick up 1, 2, 3 11-0s, a 3mm pearl. Then I'm going to pick up a number of beads for the loop, probably about 20. Check your bead, because if your bead is bigger or smaller than mine, I'm using an 8mm, but if it's a fire polish it might be, you know, you might need more, you might need less, so all I do is I put on a number of beads. Okay, so I didn't even count them, at least 20. I'm going to skip them all except for the one before and after the little pearl. Like that. And then I'm just going to take my crystal and make sure it goes through without stretching the beads out too much. So let me hold it. And that looks like it'll work. Hold on, let me pull it again. Let's see. Maybe a couple more. So just make sure, I'm not going to go back and do that, but just make sure that your bead goes through easily. Pick up 2 beads. Sew through the other side of the pearl. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go back up, just like we did with the other one, down through this unit, back through, up here again, and reinforce this and putting that extra bead on just like we did on this side. If you have to rewind it a little bit to do that. And then so get that done and then come on back and we'll take a look at everything. Okay, we're back and we are done. So just a couple things. Don't forget to sew in all your threads. Remember, this is separate from this, so you want to make sure you sew these threads into your necklace and this one around your bezel. Just make sure everything is laying nicely. Put it around your neck. Make sure it's falling nicely. It's very important for this type of necklace to, you know, just to make sure everything is sitting right. You don't want to jam everything together and make it all kinked out. You want it to just flow nicely. It's very fluid. It should be very fluid and very easy and not stiff. Okay, so earrings. I like just the post earring or this earring, or I had another idea. What about just a drop earring with this as the post and this as the drop right here? Wouldn't that, I think that would be beautiful. I'm kind of into like some long, linear looking drops. I think that would look so pretty with this. Or just make the bottom piece as a post earring, or just you can put a hook on it. I'm into my posts lately, but you can just put a hook on that and make that an earring as well. Okay, so a few ideas there. Bracelet coming up. Like I said, I'm thinking of something here, and maybe a wide bracelet part, and then, I don't know, something here, maybe connect here, I don't know, something, but a bracelet will be coming up, and it'll be something that will go very nicely with this. All right, so thank you again for joining me, and I will see you on the next video. Take care, bye-bye.